For 7 long years, my life had been woven into the tapestry of Marcus's world, a winter that stretched across seasons, until he shattered the illusion with a confession as cold as the city we called home. He was weary of us, he said, his heart turning toward a girl whose youth and tenderness held a novelty I could no longer offer. This time, there were no tears, no shattered glass, no pleas hurled into the silence between us. Instead, I took the diamond ring he had given me, a promise that had turned to ice, and dropped it into the trash with a final, hollow clink. The wedding dress, a vision of champagne silk and delicate lace I had only just purchased, I sliced into ribbons with a steady hand, each cut severing a thread of what might have been. Under the cover of a starless night, I boarded a flight and left Eastwood City behind, its glittering skyline shrinking into memory among his circle. Wagers were placed like bets on a race. How long before Grace came crawling back? Marcus himself laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. She'll be at my door begging within 3 days, he declared, confidence lacing every syllable. But 3 days bled into 6, and I offered not a whisper, not a sign. It was Marcus who broke first, his composure cracking like thin ice. He dialed my number directly, something he had never done before. Grace, his voice came through, strained, if you've had your fill of this melodrama, just come home. Instead of my reply, a low, masculine chuckle traveled down the line. Mr. Marcus, the voice was smooth, almost amused, you can't expect to win a woman's heart by waiting out the clock. Someone else might just seize the opportunity. Noah's lips brushed my temple as he spoke into the receiver, his touch pulling me from the edges of sleep. Marcus's rage was palpable even through the phone, his words ground out between clenched teeth, let her take the phone. But Noah only smiled against my skin. I can't do that, he murmured, his breath warm. She's still lost in dreams. It seems I'll have to kiss her awake first. And so it was. My 7th year with Marcus ended not with reconciliation, but with the gentle press of another man's lips, and the dawning realization that some winters, once endured, give way to an unexpected spring. I secretly bought a wedding dress, gathering all my courage to propose to him. Unfortunately, I arrived a few minutes late to the party that day. I happened to overhear him chatting with his friends. You mean Grace? I've been tired of her for a long time. Marcus lit a cigarette and chuckled casually. 7 years, wouldn't you get tired of it? The others joined in the laughter. That's true, they agreed. 7 years, even a goddess would lose her spark, but is truly beautiful, and she has a great figure. Last time for Marcus's birthday, she wore a provocative dress. Every man there couldn't help but stare, could they? Seriously, Marcus, you used to cherish her so much. Can you really let her go now? Marcus's voice was indifferent. When have I ever lied then? If I were to pursue Grace, you wouldn't mind, right? Go for it, Marcus said, blowing a smoke ring carelessly. As long as it doesn't bother either of you. Seriously, aren't you ashamed? Marcus is already tired of her, and you're going to pick up his discards. Another round of laughter erupted. I didn't enter the private room that night. I just found an excuse, saying I had a headache, and went home. First, Marcus didn't ask a single question. He just hung up the phone. The decision to break up was probably completely solidified that night. 02 Within a couple of days, rumors started spreading like wildfire in our circle. I heard Marcus was pursuing a sophomore student from the Conservatory of Arts. Someone young, tender, and innocent. His pursuit of someone was always astonishingly grand. He lavished her with houses, cars, and jewelry at will. The young girl had never seen such a display, and she was completely won over. In just a couple of days, at a gathering arranged by friends, Marcus brought her directly the moment they walked in. Everyone fell silent. A few of the girls I was on good terms with looked at me with some concern. I smiled and asked, "Why is everyone so quiet? What are you looking at me for?" Marcus put his arm around the girl and sat down, then finally looked directly at me. "Grace," he said, "today's a good opportunity, so I'll just say what needs to be said. Go I'm listening these past few years. The on again, off again was pointless. Our feelings for each other faded along. Time ago I tightly clenched my hand. The ring on my middle finger digging deep into my skin, yet I felt no pain. Luna is young and innocent, the first genuinely like her, and I don't want to make her feel like less. Marcus gently stroked the girl's hair. I need to give her proper status. I nodded slightly. Yes, I understand. We can still be friends. If you ever have any difficulties, you can always come to me. As long as you're in Eastwood City, I'll still take care of your affairs as usual. I think not. I gave a small smile and stood up. Since we've broken up, let's make it a clear and break so the girl doesn't misunderstand. Marcus raised an eyebrow, slightly surprised. After a moment, he said, fair enough, then you all enjoy your gathering. I'll head back first. Should I have the driver take you? No need, I'll just take a taxi. I walked out of the room, and as I casually closed the door, I heard someone ask, how long do you think Grace will hold out this time? 2 days? She seems genuinely angry this time. I'll bet on a week. Marcus glanced at the door, which hadn't fully closed, and said with a cold laugh, she'll be back crying in less than 3 days. It's always been like this for years. I'm really tired of it. Yeah, how could Grace ever leave you? Everyone knows how madly in love she was with you. I gave a self-deprecating laugh, tightened my grip on my clutch, and quickly headed for the elevator. 03 Back at my apartment, I went to a corner of the walk-in closet and took out the wedding dress. I had waited half a year to get it, but unfortunately, I would never have the chance to wear it. The wedding dress was custom-made, non-refundable. I simply found a pair of scissors and cut it up. After all, leaving it there would only be an eyesore for Marcus. When I finally left, I took off my ring and placed it on the coffee table. I didn't take many things, only my personal belongings. I left everything else behind. After thinking for a moment, I also left a note for Marcus, the house and everything in it he could dispose of as he wished without asking me. I booked a plane ticket for the early hours of the morning, flying to Harborview. My best friend had married and moved there the year before, so it was a good chance to visit her and clear my head. 04 My best friend invited me out for shopping and afternoon tea that evening. There was also a small get together with former classmates and old friends. A few rounds of drinks and someone pushed the door open and walked in. A few female classmates' eyes immediately lit up. Noah, you're a rare sight indeed. Noah, how did you honor us with your presence tonight? I was just next door discussing some business, he replied. Then I heard old friends were gathering, so I came to join the fun. As spoke, his gaze lingered for a moment on something, then slowly shifted away. My best friend subtly poked me. Gracie, she whispered, Noah came for you, didn't he? My eyes, hazy with drink, turned to the man. He was a little taller than Marcus, wearing a black coat over a matching business suit. His features were very handsome. His build was impressive, and his legs were incredibly long. I squinted at him for a moment before looking away and shaking my head. No way, I mumbled. We haven't been in touch for years. My best friend ignored me and called directly to Noah. Mr. Noah, she asked, would you mind giving Gracie a ride home later? We've all been drinking, and I don't feel comfortable letting her take a ride share alone. I looked up at Noah. Startled. Noah's gaze also swept past everyone and landed on my face. After about 2 seconds, I saw him nod. Okay. He said thanks. Noah, my best friend, smiled and sat down, leaning into whisper in my ear, Gracie, sleeping with one guy for 7 years isn't worth it. No matter how you look at it, Marcus can be fickle and flirtatious. Why can't you start a new chapter? Besides, catch like Noah, it would be a waste not to. 04 Noah drove me back to the hotel. When we arrived downstairs at the hotel, I unbuckled my seat belt. I thanked him. Thank you for driving me back tonight. Noah turned his head to look at me. Anytime, he said. I pushed open the car door, and as I was about to get out, I suddenly remembered Marcus's words. From that day, on a whim, I asked, "Do you want to come up for a drink?" Noah kissed me as soon as we were in the elevator. I was already drunk, and his forceful dominant kiss almost made me lightheaded from lack of oxygen. There are security cameras, I gasped. My cheeks flushed. My legs were so weak I could barely stand, so I could only cling tightly to his waist. Noah glanced at the camera, then turned, changing his angle, and kissed me again. As he swiped the card to open the room door, he suddenly stopped me. "Grace," he said, "if you regret this now, I can still stop." "Regret what?" I looked up at him, my fingers wrapping around his tie, pulling him closer. "You've already kissed my lips, swollen. Now you're saying stop." Noah suddenly smiled. He reached out, his thumb gently brushing my slightly swollen lips. "Then even if you regret it later, it won't matter. Our first time." Noah didn't even wait until we got to the bedroom. My back, pressed against the wall, started to ache a little. I couldn't help but bite him playfully, whining slightly. "Noah, you're an animal, aren't you? Do you have no tenderness?" His scorching palm cradled my back as his thrusts became fierce. Finally, he gasped and kissed my neck. "Grace, I can't hold back anymore." 55 minutes later, I finally understood what he meant by that. Noah carried me back to the bedroom, and I buried my face in the pillow, giggling uncontrollably. "Noah, how long has it been since you've been with a woman?" Noah looked at me with a serious expression. "It has been a while," he admitted. "I've been swamped with work these past few years." I looked at him, surprised, and gradually stopped laughing. A little while later, tears suddenly welled up. "I'm sorry, Noah, I had defiled him." "Grace, what are you talking about?" "Perhaps because I was crying." Noah seemed a little flustered. He fumbled to wipe away my tears, but I couldn't stop them from flowing. "I shouldn't have provoked you, but you already have." Noah leaned down, cooped my face, and gazed steadily at me, his tone unexpectedly serious. "Grace, since you provoked me, you'll have to see it through." 06 On my 7th day in Harborview, my friend Alex from Eastwood City suddenly sent me a text message. "Gracie, when are you coming back to Eastwood City?" "I don't have plans to go back for now. Everyone really misses you. Ben's birthday party is in a couple of days. Come back and join us." "No, thanks. Can you tell him for me that I'll send a gift?" "All right, then take care of yourself." I later heard that in the private room, Alex handed his cell phone to Marcus, suggesting, "Marcus, look, why don't you call Gracie? She'll definitely listen to you." Marcus, looking coldly at the lines of text on the screen, suddenly put out his cigarette and stood up, declaring, "Whether she comes back or not, she can just die out there for all I care." "Marcus, don't get angry," someone tried to soothe him. "Gracie must be hurting inside." "Yeah, she even took off the ring. This time it looks like she's truly heartbroken, and you and that other girl took things too far." Marcus suddenly snapped. "We're already damn broken up. What more does she want?" He raged. "Listen up, no one is allowed to contact her again, not even if she dies. All right, no one will contact her. Just don't lose your temper, you We're just in the hospital for a stomach ulcer flare-up a couple of days ago. You never had stomach issues when Gracie was around. She's only been gone a few days. And you've already messed yourself up like this with every word his friend spoke. Marcus' face grew darker finally. He just grabbed his coat and stormed out as he walked downstairs. The cold wind hit his face, but Marcus still felt the anger burning in his chest, refusing to dissipate. That woman, Grace, really had got 7 days. And not a single phone call or text message from her. Was she really playing hardball? With a cold expression, Marcus added Grace's number to his blacklist. I knew his thoughts well enough to imagine him thinking, "You better not come back pleading me," because this time I imagined him swearing, "I absolutely won't go soft on you like." Before 07 my phone rang. It was Noah calling just as I typed the last line and clicked to format. I had started writing a magazine column during college and had some success, so after graduation, I simply became a full-time writer. Thanks to that talent, my income was quite good. My job offered freedom. I could take my laptop and go anywhere, so after the breakup, I didn't have to stay in Eastwood City feeling upset and heartbroken. "Gracie, what do you want for dinner tonight?" Noah's voice came clearly, and the busyness of the afternoon seemed to instantly melt away. My brain cells have died by the millions. I'm so tired. You decide. How about hot pot, Ben? I know a place that has amazing brains. I'm sure you'll love it. When I ate hot pot, I always loved ordering a portion of brains, but later Marcus said it looked disgusting, so I rarely touched it. Yet I vaguely remembered that Noah's diet was always very light. "Noah, you don't have to accommodate me like this. I'm not a picky eater anymore." I suddenly felt like eating it, too. I remember in college, there was a Mackay place at the university diner, and their brains were so tender and fresh. Hearing him talk about it, I couldn't help but feel tempted. That Malay place really was delicious. I ate there for 4 years in college and never got tired of it all. "Right, then let's have hot pot. I'll come pick you up now." "Okay." Noah took me to a Chongqing hot pot restaurant that had been open in Harborview for many years. The place was old and not very big, but business was exceptionally good. The only thing was that Noah, in his formal suit, looked completely out of place in that environment. I watched him carefully wipe my chair with a tissue. He then skillfully sterilized the plates and cutlery with boiling water and poured me some juice. A privileged young man like him was surprisingly adept at these trivial tasks. "Noah, your ex must have trained you well." I couldn't help but comment. Unlike me, after 7 years of on again of F again, it was only when Marcus first pursued me that I truly experienced the feeling of being cared for and cherished. After graduating college, during the year or so I lived with Marcus, I was practically a living caretaker. Marcus had digestive issues, so I learned to cook and make soup. I managed his meals and daily needs like a beautiful wife. But now, I finally understood. I loved him so much I lost myself, forgetting the principle of loving myself first. How could I expect his love to last forever? Noah, while helping me cook the food, glanced up at me. "Where did you hear I have an ex-girlfriend?" 08 I paused. "Didn't you have a girl constantly by your side in college? It seemed like you two grew up together like childhood sweethearts. Are you talking about Chloe?" Noah chuckled. "It's true we grew up together, but I never dated her. I don't like her romantically. At most, I see her as a sister." "So, you haven't dated anyone all these years?" Noah unhurriedly folded the sleeves of his shirt. I'd been on a few set-up dates and had brief encounters. But when it didn't feel right, I ended things. Oh, and nothing after that. I lowered my gaze, thinking of his performance that first night. It seemed to make his words several times more credible. Grace, I won't do it next time. Noah's sudden remark left me utterly confused. Won't do what? I asked. He turned his face away and gave a light cough. Perhaps it was the steam from the boiling hot pot, but his ears were incredibly red. You'll know soon enough. Noah scooped out some cooked brains for me. Eat, he said. It wasn't until he drove me back to the hotel and carried me from the bathroom back to the bed after I'd washed up that I suddenly understood what he had meant earlier. At that moment, I felt like my whole body was falling apart. The hair by my temples was soaked with sweat countless times, and even my fingertips trembled weakly. Yet, Noah showed no sign of stopping. Noah. I couldn't help but glare at him, but my eyes were misty, which only made me look more alluring. My voice calling his name sounded more like a soft whine, not at all like I was truly angry. Noah lowered his head and gently kissed me. Gracie, are you comfortable? I shook my head, refusing to answer him. He didn't get angry. Instead, his rhythm shifted from a fierce storm to a tantalizing, tender caress. Gracie, tell me now, are you comfortable? That feeling of almost reaching ecstasy, but always just short. It tortured me until I softly cried out, yes, it feels good. It feels so good. His scorching hand gripped my waist, delivering fierce, conquering force. My cries were broken and fragmented by his powerful thrusts. Finally, as my mind drifted away, Noah whispered softly in my ear, Gracie, now that you're comfortable, promise you'll never leave me. Okay. 10 on the night of Ben's birthday party, the gift I bought in Harborview was delivered to him by a friend. I heard Marcus was sitting on the sofa smoking with a nearly empty liquor bottle in front of him. The gift for Ben was something Noah and I had chosen together. It was a pair of antique cufflinks from a couture brand. He really liked these cufflinks. Are quite exquisite, Ben said. I later learned Ben's smile was a little stiff watching expression. He didn't dare say more and quickly had his girlfriend put them away, but suddenly spoke. Bring them here. Ben froze for a moment, but didn't dare say anything. Quickly handing the box over, Marcus stared at the pair of cufflinks. The brand's logo was understated and not very noticeable, but Marcus stared at them for quite a while. Put them away, he finally said, closing the box and pushing it aside. Ben let out a big sigh of relief and quickly reached for them, but Marcus suddenly picked up the empty liquor bottle in front of him and smashed it hard onto the coffee table. Broken glass flew everywhere, and a long gash immediately appeared on the back of his hand. The private room instantly descended into chaos. What's wrong now? Why did you suddenly lose your temper, Marcus? I heard someone ask. That's a nasty cut. The bleeding won't stop. You should hurry to the hospital. Marcus stood there motionless, his face dark and full of rage. Grace never bought anything from this brand, he said in a low voice, which was hoarse and melancholic. His voice was very low, yet deeply melancholic. Ben quickly chuckled. What's the big deal, Gracie? Probably just picked it randomly after all. It's not like your birthday. Gracie would spend half a year thinking about what to get you. That's right, Marcus, your place in her heart is more than 10 times greater than all of us combined. Everyone knows how much Grace cared about you, how much she cherished you. Hearing that, Marcus scoffed coldly. Cared about me? The noisy crowd inexplicably quieted down little by little. Marcus, why don't I give Gracie A call? Someone offered, or maybe just. Get that wound treated first. Ben suddenly got bold, picked up his cell phone, and snapped a photo of Marcus's lacerated hand. Then he immediately sent the text message to Grace. Marcus didn't stop him, perhaps because Ben acted too quickly for him to react. 11. The private room suddenly fell silent. About 10 seconds later, Ben's cell phone suddenly rang. I told you Gracie loved and cared about you so much. Marcus, look, it's Gracie's call. Ben exclaimed, overjoyed. Ben spoke excitedly, and everyone noticed that the rage on Marcus's face seemed to ease slightly. Marcus, are you going to answer? Ben handed him the cell phone, but Marcus turned his face away without looking, so happily said, I'll answer. He deliberately put it on speaker phone, and when Grace's voice rang out, Marcus's lips instantly tightened. Ben, what's going on? Are you hurt? Huh? No. It's not me, it's Marcus's hand. You wouldn't believe how badly he's hurt, how scary it is. The blue just won't stop. Ben rambled on for a long time, but there was only silence on my end of the phone. Gracie, are you listening? Or maybe you should just come back. Marcus won't go to the hospital, and he can't keep bleeding like this. Ben, my voice was still as soft and pleasant as ever. From now on, don't tell me about his affairs. The smile on Ben's face instantly faltered. Gracie, and also, happy birthday, Ben. Gracie, you, hey, don't hang up, Gracie. But the sound of the phone disconnecting had already rung out unmistakably clear. Ben was completely stunned, holding the cell phone as if it were a hot potato. He truly wished he could slap himself unconscious. For no reason at all, he had meddled in something that caused such a mess. The private room was eerily silent. Marcus, however, calmly looked at everyone and smiled. Are you all mute? No one dared to speak. Marcus chuckled again. Why is everyone so damn quiet? Marcus, don't get angry. Don't get angry. The blood is flowing even more now. Marcus, you know Gracie's temper best. Sarah, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, suddenly spoke. Actually, I've wanted to say this for a long time. The things you did before were really hurtful. Gracie is a young woman, and young women are more sensitive. Even if you don't like her anymore, you should have parted ways amicably. Who said I wanted to part ways amicably with her? Marcus scoffed, his smile sarcastic and chilling. She followed me for 7 years. I've owned a dog for 7 years. It would be loyal to me. Sarah smiled very softly. Have you ever considered how many 7 years a girl has? What if Gracie truly never comes back? Impossible, Marcus insisted. No one noticed the almost imperceptible tremor in his voice. Marcus, don't do something you'll regret forever. After finished speaking, she didn't linger. She picked up her bag and walked out. 12. Just as I hung up the phone, Noah embraced me from behind. He rested his chin on the side of my neck and gently rubbed it, but said nothing. I couldn't help but smile. What's wrong, Gracie? Will you go back? Go back where? Back to Eastwood City. I don't have plans to go back for now, but maybe sometime in the future. After all, I haven't done anything shameful. Why shouldn't I go back? My home is still there. Noah fell silent again. It was then that I realized what he was implying. Are you trying to ask if I'll get back together with Marcus? Will you? If I said absolutely not, would you believe me? Noah lowered his eyes, his prominent nose gently brushing my cheek. I want to believe it, Noah. I have my dignity too. Then do you still have feelings for him? I thought about it seriously. If I said I had no feelings left at all, it Wouldn't be realistic after so many years. Noah suddenly bit me softly. Don't say it, Gracie, let me finish. But to say this feeling is reluctance or unwillingness, that's not it either. I gently touched Noah's face. Being apart from him hasn't been particularly painful or difficult for me, so perhaps I stopped loving him a long time ago, perhaps from the moment he started to become indifferent to our relationship. I was already prepared for the breakup. I won't be indifferent. I won't be fickle. I won't make you cry or feel sad. Noah held me tighter and tighter, and finally he kissed me. Gracie, be with me. 13, but I didn't return his kiss in the end. I gently pushed him away. I avoided his gaze. I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. If you're willing, we can continue to have this kind of relationship. If you meet someone you like, we can end at any time. What kind of relationship? A tool for physical needs? You can think that I refuse to look up at him, afraid I wouldn't be able to stop my tears. Noah, I'm so sorry if being like this makes you uncomfortable. I'll leave Harborview immediately. I swear I'll never be other you again. Grace. Noah's eyes were bloodshot. He released his grip and slowly took a step back. He seemed to be smiling, but his smile was broken. Grace, you can't do this to me, Noah. He turned, picked up his coat, and walked out. I instinctively took a step after him, but then stopped. Noah walked all the way to the door, and the moment his hand grasped the handle, he suddenly turned back to look at me. He even offered a reassuring smile. I'm sorry, I just need to be alone for a while. I nodded. Okay, I won't bother you, Grace. Give me some time to think and I'll get back to you. Noah left, but I felt completely drained and slowly sank onto the sofa. An inexplicable ache settled in my heart. I was afraid of the way that person's gaze would change from initial passion to indifference and then to cold disgust. I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. It was just that I shouldn't have provoked Noah. If only I had known from the beginning that he liked me, then that night, I definitely wouldn't have let him drive me back to the Hotel 14. I would later find out that it was already 3 o'clock in the morning when Noah drove back to the hotel where I was staying. He got out of the car but didn't go inside. Instead, leaning against the vehicle and lighting a cigarette. Countless windows were lit, and he couldn't find which one was mine, but knowing I was there, that I was in Harborview, in the same city as him, knowing that if he just walked in, he would see me within 10 minutes, seemed to bring him joy and satisfaction. He had actually figured it out in less than 2 days. He had easily managed to sue himself. It was completely normal for me, having just ended such a relationship, not to want to date again. It was even more normal that I felt disappointed and resistant towards men, relationships, and even marriage, because had fallen in love with me a long time ago. He would be infinitely tolerant of me. Noah put out his cigarette and his gaze slowly grew calm and resolute. But I had coincidentally come to Harborview, and that night I had coincidentally made the offer if the girl he loved came to him, only for him to lose her again. Then he, Noah, wouldn't deserve the happiness he desired. 15. The night before I was due to leave Harborview, I met my best friend for drinks. How are things going with Noah? She asked. My best friend looked me up and down. Tsk. She too, just looking at you glowing with happiness. Your skin so soft and plump. I can tell Noah has been treating you very well. I'd better not waste his time. I don't want to be in a relationship, and I don't want to get married. You don't not want to get married, she argued. You've just been emotionally manipulated for 7 years by that scumbag, Marcus, and you think you don't deserve true love and happiness anymore. At her words, I Couldn't help but freeze. Was that true? Honey, do you have any idea how amazing you are? My best friend hugged me, gently swaying me. You're so beautiful. With such a great figure you could earn enough to support yourself in college. And even supported me. You're pretty, capable, and kind. If I were a man, I'd marry you in a heartbeat. You deserve to be loved, Gracie, to be cherished by the best man, and not wasted and consumed by a man like Marcus. Trust me, honey. He'll definitely regret it for the rest of his life. He'll never get over losing you now. Call Noah immediately and cancel your plane ticket. Don't think I don't know you're trying to run away. Again I looked at my best friend, my eyes slowly growing warm and moist. But what if Noah and I also end up like this? You won't. Why not? Because I believe a man with enough self-control, who prefers quality over quantity, once he gets the girl he likes, will never be stupid enough to lose her. Do you think he's that pig, Marcus? I shook my head. Of course, he wasn't, Marcus, so call him now, honey. You can't. I imagine how happy he'll be. 16, and I knew Noah would be very happy, but I never would have imagined that a man in his late 20s, the successful CEO who had taken over his family's enterprise, would be as happy as a child. The moment he received my phone call, my best friend watched me with a smile. Gracie, are you happy? I nodded. It seems I am very happy. See, you're happy, and Noah's even happier, so isn't that settled? My best friend suddenly burst out laughing. Now, every time I think about how unhappy Marcus will be in the future, I get crazy happy. Not necessarily, I said lightly. He might already have someone new with him. I smiled faintly. Harper. Let's not mention him again. At that moment, I could actually say such words with complete composure. It was as if that person truly had nothing to do with me anymore. When's car arrived downstairs, I was just coming out of the bar. He stood in the night breeze, opening his arms to me. I stopped and looked at him. I had to admit, he really was handsome. Every part of him was exactly to my taste. Men could like countless women at the same time. Stringing two along without breaking up. Seamless transitions weren't even considered a flaw, so there was certainly nothing wrong with me dating again. After a breakup, I walked towards him and he strode towards me as well, amidst the coming and going of people. Noah and I kissed as if no one else was around. His heart was beating so fast I touched the back of his neck. It was burning hot. Noah, do you have a fever? His forehead rested against mine. He breathed lightly, his voice low. Grace, I don't know what's wrong with me when I touch you. It's always like this. I chuckled, standing on tiptoe to kiss his chin. Maybe it'll get better if we touch more often. Noah's ears turned even redder and hotter. He cupped my face, his gaze burning as he looked at me. Grace, what am I to you now? I deliberately teased him. What do you think? Friends with Ben Eitz or boyfriend? He asked, but then without waiting for my answer, he buried his face in my neck and whispered, never mind. Don't answer. I don't want to know right now. My hands gently circled his waist and I pressed myself closer to him. Are you sure you don't want to? No? Boyfriend 17. I later learned Marcus's car stopped at an alleyway entrance. He got out and walked deep into the alley. An old tour lived there, whose ancestors had once been renowned silk weavers in Jiangnan. Now old, he had long since retired and no longer accepted customers, but knew how to persuade the old man. The wedding dress I had cut up had been sent to the old master half a month ago. By now, it was almost fully repaired. As he walked, Marcus must have thought that Ben's words from a couple of days ago were Right, girls all long to wear a wedding dress and marry the person they loved. He and I had been together for 7 years. Yet he had never thought about proposing. He never even imagined that I would have thought about proposing to him. In the days since I'd been gone, he hadn't been able to muster any energy for anything, even when he was out with friends. I was all he could think about, especially when he drank too much. If I were there, I would pretend to be angry and try to stop him. If he truly couldn't be stopped, I would still make soup for him late at night, letting him rest his head on my lap while I massaged his temples. My fingers were soft, and my gentle complaints and caring murmurs, which used to annoy him, were now something he deeply missed. Marcus resolved that when I returned this time, he would propose to me. He had actually known for a long time how much I wanted to marry him. If he offered me marriage, I would feel at ease and forgive him. Wouldn't I? 18. The old master's craftsmanship was truly excellent. The wedding dress had been repaired to look almost exactly like new after paid. His cell phone suddenly rang as he was leaving. He felt an expe nervous until he saw Ben's name flashing on the screen. Only then did his wildly pounding heart slowly calm down. Marcus, Ben said, there's something I thought about and I really should tell you. It's about Gracie. No, never mind. I think it's probably just a rumor started by someone else. Ben, when did you become so effeminate? Marcus demanded. What's wrong with Grace? Is she back in Eastwood City? Marcus, I told you don't get angry. It's just hearsay right now. No real proof. It's just that, well, someone saw Gracie in Harborview. Marcus's fingers tightened abruptly around his cell phone, but his voice remained controlled and calm. What about her in Harborview? It looks like she's with Noah. Of course, it might just be dinner. Nothing else. I understand, Marcus, she began. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Marcus cut the call. He carried the large paper bag, the one holding the wedding dress Grace had bought. He walked step by step through the cold early winter wind in Eastwood City. He didn't stop until he reached the alleyway entrance by his car. Marcus suddenly paused, a faint, mocking smile slowly appearing on his handsome face, and the next moment, the exquisite paper bag in his hand was thrown into the trash can without hesitation. 19. It was the second month after Grace left. Marcus had once sent her a text message. The message had gone through, but it went unanswered. The message read, the apartment is going to be sold. What should I do with your clothes? Perhaps he had forgotten that Grace left him a note, telling him to dispose of everything there as he pleased, or perhaps he was just doing it on purpose, looking for an excuse to text her. Marcus might have thought that this was his way of offering Grace an olive branch. If she were smart, she would know to take it. His temper seemed bad, but in reality, he was quite easy to appease. Grace never replied. Naturally, the apartment wasn't sold either. Grace's clothes and all her previous belongings were left as they were, as if she had never left. Marcus would always come here late at night after social engagements. Then he would lie on Grace's bed, sleepless until dawn, and in the third month after Grace left, it was still the same unchanging late night. As the hour hand neared 12, Marcus dialed Grace's phone. 20. The cell phone rang for a while. Just as he thought she wouldn't pick up, the call connected. In that instant, he actually wanted to say, Gracie, please come back, but when he opened his mouth, what came out was, Grace, come back when you've had enough. His incredibly foolish and laughable words were interrupted by a man's soft chuckle. Mr. Marcus, you can't wait overnight to coax a girl Otherwise someone else might snatch her. Up halfway Noah Marcus's eyes were bloodshot as he gritted his teeth. Uttering the name, "It's me, Noah, where's Grace?" Let her answer the phone. Marcus's eyes seemed filled with blood, menacingly red. He clutched his cell phone tightly, his low growl trembling. "Noah, if you dare take advantage, she can't answer." Noah lowered his head and gently kissed his girl. "She's still out cold and mad at me. I need to kiss her awake first." Noah Marcus' voice cut off abruptly. Noah switched off his cell phone. Casually his kiss landed on Grace's slightly swollen lips. "Honey, wake up." 21 Grace had often wondered how a reunion with Marcus would play out. Either he would ignore her or they would exchange polite greetings, but she never imagined that such a privileged young man, accustomed to being revered, would appear so disheveled and out of sorts. Marcus' shirt was a bit wrinkled, and he wasn't wearing a tie. His face showed an undeniable weariness. His brows were deeply furrowed and his eyes were bloodshot. People bustled around them, and not far away, a musical fountain played cheerful music. The scene felt like a slow-motion sequence from a film, but wasn't merely an observer. She was one of the unexpected protagonists. Perhaps appearance at that moment was simply too surprising. Noah instinctively shielded her behind him, yet expression was remarkably calm, just like when they were deeply in love. He softly called her name. Gracie. Grace stood motionless, but a strange sadness welled up within her. "Gracie, I've come to take you back to Eastwood City." Marcus didn't look at Noah at all. His gaze on Grace's face was incredibly tender. Grace couldn't even remember how long it had been since he had looked at her like that before their breakup. Marcus stopped about a meter in front of her. "Gracie, let's go back and get married from now on. We'll have a good life together, okay?" He spoke with such earnestness that Grace almost believed him, as if Marcus, who had recently spoken of giving another girl proper status, was merely a figment of her imagination. But it was too late. Marcus, a shattered heart, couldn't be pieced back together, and the new heart that had grown from the mirror already held someone else. 22 Grace gently shook her head. "Marcus, please leave." "Gracie, I never touched Luna. I broke up with her in less than 3 days. The wedding dress you bought, I found a skilled craftsman to repair it, and our matching rings, I've kept them safe." "Gracie, I even had a diamond ring custom made." "I'm serious." Marcus's eyes grew redder and his voice trembled slightly. He held the exquisite diamond ring box, presenting it to Grace as if it were a treasure. The yearning and hope in his eyes were incredibly cautious. Looking at him like that, Grace couldn't deny that she still felt a pang of sorrow, but that was all it was, just a pang of sorrow. "Marcus, I already have a boyfriend." Grace tightly held Noah's hand, stepping from behind him to stand by his side. The color drained from Marcus's face in an instant. His gaze slowly slid downwards. Finally, it rested on Grace's and Noah's clasped hands on their middle fingers. They wore a pair of matching rings, just as Grace and he once had. "Gracie, are you serious?" Grace took a deep breath, turned her head to look at Noah, then nodded firmly. "Yes, I'm serious." Marcus suddenly let out a low chuckle. "Do you really think he's serious about you? How much sincerity do you think he truly possesses? 2 years ago, he fought tooth and nail with me over a project, and now he's pursuing you. Grace, don't you think there's a selfish motive in that? Aren't you afraid that being with him will just lead to another 7 years, just like with me?" 23 Before today, Grace had never regretted loving Marcus. For better or worse, it was all part of her experience, but in that moment, she couldn't help but bitterly regret it. Why, after 7 years, had she never realized that Marcus, deep down, had never truly respected her. Noah pulled her into his embrace, his eyes filled with concern. Grace's face was a little pale, but she still smiled and shook her head at him. "I'm fine, Noah sweetheart, you go to the car first. I'll handle this here. I want to stay with you." Grace gripped his hand, unwilling to let go. Noah gazed at her steadily for a moment, then suddenly lowered his head and kissed her firmly. "Gracie, Noah, have always lived and acted with a clear conscience, and I've never had regrets, but right now, in this very moment, I truly regret not having snatched you away from him sooner. What right do you have to fight me for her? Noah, what kind of man are you, taking advantage of the situation? Marcus, you don't deserve Grace's affection and love for you over these past 7 years." Perhaps that statement utterly enraged Marcus. He had never lost his composure like this, blurting out whatever came to mind. "And what about you, Noah? You take a woman who has been with me for 7 years, and you have the audacity to stand here and spout off to me. What do you even like about her? Do you genuinely like Grace? Or do you just like her because she was my woman?" 24 Noah landed a heavy punch on Marcus' face and was not one to take a beating easily. They exchanged blows, and soon both had cuts and bruises on their faces and bodies. Security guards rushed over and finally managed to separate them, but the two men still glared furiously at each other, refusing to back down an inch. "Can you two stop?" Grace was both angry and anxious. Her voice edged with a sob. Marcus's face was livid. "Grace, you saw it. Noah threw the first punch. I'm not done with him over this." "Yes, he threw the first punch, Mr. Marcus. I'll have him apologize to you. Whatever resolution you seek, we will cooperate." "Gracie, he was clearly being insulting." First Noah immediately grew anxious. Grace gently pressed Noah's hand and spoke calmly. "Again, Mr. Marcus, I'll apologize on Noah's behalf." "First Grace, are you really defending him like this?" Marcus slowly took a step forward. "He hit me first, Grace, so how do you want to resolve this?" "Grace, I'm hurt." Marcus pointed to his face. "Do you see the injury here? It really hurts." Grace glanced at it and calmly said, "Then I'll call an ambulance for you. We'll cover all the expenses." "Grace, you know that's not what I want." Marcus tried to reach for Grace, but she dodged him. Gracie, all the composure Marcus had been maintaining shattered on his face. Noah suddenly hissed in pain. "Gracie, do you think I'm going to be disfigured?" Grace quickly turned around. The man in front of her had a split lip. His eye was swollen and there was blood on his jaw. He really looked quite intimidating. Grace took out a tissue to wipe him. "It hurts." "Gracie, gently, gently." Noah grimaced exaggeratedly. "Serves you right," Grace whispered, scolding him, but still gently easing her touch, feeling for him. "You'll need stitches at the hospital. Then you have to come with me. I'm afraid of needles." Grace couldn't help but glare at him, but she's still an added. Noah immediately pulled her into a hug. "I also need you to kiss me here. It hurts like hell." Grace slowly stood on tiptoes and lightly kissed his injury. 25 Marcus did not speak again. The setting sun quietly stretched his silhouette. Perhaps it was when Grace was coaxing Noah and kissing him that Marcus finally realized with stark clarity that Grace no longer loved him. Sarah's question that day had in fact come true. Grace would not come back to him. He had thought he was the one who could easily let go of 7 years of affection, but at that moment, he understood it was Marcus who couldn't let go. Grace was the string that held his kite. With the string broken, the kite had lost its direction and could never find its way home again. 26 Grace watched Marcus turn and walked towards his car. Watching his solitary figure disappear, the evening sun was suddenly swallowed. By the horizon the sky turned a soft rose blue. Marcus' car slowly drove away, and Grace felt as if she saw the 7 years of her life from 17 to 24 vanishing without a trace as the car sped off. Grace knew that from that day on, the name Marcus would be just like any other ordinary name in the world. She wouldn't deliberately forget it, but she would never actively recall it either. Gracie, Noah gently embraced Grace looked back, tilting her face up at him, smiling softly. Let's go to the hospital. 27 On the night Noah proposed, he drank a lot and held Grace, telling her many things, but all Grace remembered seemed to be just those two simple sentences. Grace, we will never have a 7 years like that. Grace, we will never break up. Everyone at the moment of making a vow surely believes it to be true, yet later, when breaking that vow, they might wonder how anyone could ever believe such a thing, but was willing to believe Noah. In truth, she believed in herself, believing she deserved to be loved, believing that genuine affection will at least once not be taken for granted. On the day Grace and Noah got engaged, she received a gift mailed from Eastwood City. It was the wedding dress she had bought. Marcus had found a craftsman to repair it. Inside the box was also a card. The handwriting on it was Marcus. He wrote, Gracie, I will always wait for you. Noah, standing beside Grace, also saw the card. He smiled confidently and kissed Grace firmly on the cheek. Too bad for him, I won't give him the chance. But that evening, the wedding dress disappeared and no longer dwelled on such trivial matters. 28 In the 3rd year of Grace's marriage to Noah, they had their daughter, Nova. Soon after their daughter was born, Marcus sent many valuable gifts. Grace asked for Noah's opinion. He was still confident, but quite ungenerous. Our daughter doesn't lack these things. Let's donate them to a charity. Tisk. Can you believe him? He's old enough to get married, but he's out here constantly fixating on other people's wives and children, just looking for trouble. Grace couldn't help but smile, pressing her lips together. Why bother with other people's business? Noah somehow became delighted. In front of all the staff in the house, he simply picked Grace up and spun her around. Gracie, what you just said sounded so good. Can you say it again? What did I say? Hey, put me down first. I'm getting dizzy. But didn't let go. He sat down, holding Grace in his lap, and kissed her repeatedly. Just that line you said. Why bother with other people's business? Grace found it amusing, yet also felt a familiar ping of sympathy. Her best friend had secretly told her before that the 2 years after Grace graduated from college were Noah's worst yet. After they got together, he never mentioned it to her, nor had he ever shown the slightest bit of negative emotion in front of her. Why bother with other people's business? What's most important is that we live our own lives well. Saying what he wanted to hear, Grace then raised her hand and hooked her arm around his neck. She kissed his slightly reddened ear and whispered softly beside it, our daughter is 2 months old. Let's go to bed early tonight. 27 Marcus's extra wind's daughter was 3. The family of 3 returned to Eastwood City for a visit, staying for a few months. Marcus had many mutual friends with Grace, and they seemed to have gatherings almost every day. Naturally, he didn't attend, but after every gathering, he couldn't help but inquire about her. They said that after Grace married, she had gone to Paris to study for 2 years. During those 2 years, Noah tirelessly traveled between Harborview and Paris, never complaining. Later, Grace returned to Harborview too, found her own magazine, and served as editor-in-chief Noah unconditionally supported all her decisions and choices. His only slight dissatisfaction was her frequent overtime and busy schedule. She clearly could have been a pampered socialite wife, but she chose not to be. She became increasingly beautiful, yet she was more than just beautiful. Her relationship with Noah grew stronger. Their daughter was incredibly beautiful, looking exactly like Grace did as a child. In truth, Grace never knew that Marcus still kept a photo of her at age 5 in his wall at Eastwood City was vast. Yet the circles were surprisingly small. But and Grace never ran into each other. Once, however, one afternoon, Marcus happened to see their daughter, Nova, at a buffet restaurant. She was hiding behind the decorative rockery, secretly eating a box of ice cream like a cute little squirrel. Her cheeks were puffed out. His steps involuntarily halted. He just watched her, unable to tear his gaze away. A moment later, he heard Grace calling her name. Nova heard it too, her eyes widening in fright. Clutching the ice cream box at a loss, Marcus, as if possessed, walked over, crouched down, and softly asked her, "Are you afraid Mom will find out you're sneak in? Gee, ice cream?" She nodded, her large eyes darting around, looking very bright. "She'll help you hide?" She hesitated, looking at him for quite some time as if confirming he wasn't a bad person. She nodded again. He picked her up. She was tiny, fragrant, and soft, and nestled in his arms. Her small hands played with the buttons on his suit. Then she suddenly spoke in a milky voice, "Uncle, do you know me?" His throat felt constricted, a bitter dryness spreading, and everything before his eyes slowly became blurry. If time could go back to that year, that night, he wouldn't let any of that happen again. Grace would be his wife. They would marry in Eastwood City and have children. She wouldn't be called Nova. She would be his and Grace's daughter. He lifted his face, suppressing the urge to cry, then looked down at her and smiled. "Yes, Uncle knows you then, do you know my name?" Her soft little hands hugged him. "I'll tell you a secret. My name is Nova. Daddy and Mommy kissed and then I was born. Is that so?" "Well, that's a very nice name." He kissed her soft, tender cheek. "All right, we can't hide for too long or Mommy will worry." She nodded obediently. "Then I'll have one more bite of ice cream." "Just one." She took a big bite and smiled at him, slightly like a little cat. He stroked her hair. "Go find Mommy now." He watched her walk away. Her princess dress was like a blooming flower unfurling in the distance within Grace's embrace. He didn't look at Grace a second time. He was afraid he would absurdly break down in tears in the bustling hall. Grace wouldn't care about anything related to him, but Noah would certainly find him laughable. Yes, his first half of life had been so absurd, so laughable, and for the rest of his life, even that absurdity and laughability had become a pipe dream. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your views and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.